Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday, the 7th of November. So, let's get on and look at the markets. First things first, of course, is the news, the risks of the market trading day that we've got. Yesterday, I'll just run on that as well. The voting there for the Bank of England came in at 0.45 instead of 0.36, so it was a little bit more bearish, i.e., it was close to a cut on this occasion, which goes to show how apparently there was a lively discussion regarding interest rate, inflation rates, etc. Can you imagine a lively discussion amongst them? Anyway, I can't. Depends what they mean by lively, doesn't it? Anyway, moving on then. So today we would have had non-farm payrolls, but of course that's not happening. We've got we do have non-farm payrolls for effectively for Canada. The employment change there, employment data at 1:30, so there is a figure coming out. But aside of that, we're pretty much left high and dry. So let's have a look at these markets, and we'll start off with a game of bull flag, bear flag. What is it? So here it is. Looking at the euro dollar. Well, look, we had quite a solid up day yesterday. It closed out my short position. Now, is it a bull flag on the shortest way? There is a short time bull flag. There is a long term bear flag. What's it going to do this morning? If anything, is it going to just chop? Because a bounce off of the lower time frames here off the daily pivot, which we're sitting at the moment, something more significant could see us taking out the high here, and that would suggest there's a much more bigger structural change. Looking at the structure, lower highs, lower lows, it had been really nice until it changed. And then yesterday we saw the switch over, saw a switch over, higher lows, higher highs on the short time frame there, and so it's a bit of a spoiler where it sits at the moment. As I say, bigger time frame, it still looks quite bearish. Short term, there's a bullish effect depending on what it does here this morning. Right. I'll leave that with you. I'll leave that with the market and see what it does really. I'll start showing this how it shows a hand. As I say, short term it might be a move back up to the pivot, up to the R1. If we were to get the full flag running out, we could be way up beyond the R2 there. The pound. So the voting for the pound yesterday obviously had an impact, and we've seen it, or had seen it run pretty low, but like everything else, it bounced in the end there, closed up. I say like everything else, but it closed up. Not so obvious bull flag, bear flag, unless 4 hourly it's a bit clearer here, isn't it? Same sort of picture as the euro. In fact, eventually yesterday, after that noise with the news coming out there, once it recovered and healed, it too could be pushing up there. At one stage it did look a little bit more positive than the euro for sure. Anyway, we'll see what it does today, but they are looking like structural changes in there. The euro I think is a little bit on the safer side at the moment, but maybe a bit of unleashed buying going on in the pound could see it go even madder. Right, US dollar yen. So the yen, whilst the other markets are gaining a tad, the yen's weakening a little here. We've seen a bounce again back off this yearly pivot. It provided decent resistance at one stage. It's given us about. Now, are we going to see? And this is probably something for Monday. I'm looking at. Is it going to swing and continue to the upside here? As I say, maybe something for Monday. I don't really like the price action too much where it's sitting at this stage on the intermediate and lower time frames. It's a bit ugly. Perhaps it will, like if the euro and the pound start popping to the upside, perhaps this on this short term time frame break back below the pivot there maybe it will then start rolling over. It did go off and catch its pivot yesterday. It looked a bit decidedly dodgy there for a while. It came off quite quickly at 8 o'clock for a while, then consolidated, broke down again, looking soft. We'll see. It's not looking the best because of that retest of the yearly pivot, but bit mixed. Aussie dollar, this was really messy yesterday, and when I was looking at it in the morning, it's still not the best looking market going there. Lower highs. I mean, a break of these lows here would see it potentially continue to the downside. It's not convincing for me at the moment. US dollar CAD. Maybe if things start going a bit wrong with all the markets, the Aussie could be a good short. Canadian dollar still losing its way a bit. Double topped on the short term yesterday. There we go. So what's it going to do this morning? So most likely a divergence kicking in here. I see, yep, divergence, MACD divergence. You can see RSI, I'm sure, will be there because the way the calculation works, whenever a market pulls back like this, it mostly gives divergences, unless it's a very shallow retrace. Anyway, so divergence sitting there. Break of the lows would trigger the divergence properly. There'll be some people already shorting on this on the basis of the double top. It's not the most convincing short point at the moment. Had been running quite well, quite ugly on the lower time frames here. Just trying to work no, it's quite ugly. We might see it come back off. As I said, there's probably a place for Monday as opposed to the day would be a break of the lows here, which would be a confirmation and the start point of the divergence actually taking effect. Okay. I don't trust divergence. It's only a single divergence as well, and I know people like double and triple divergences. Well, at that point, triple divergence, it's got a bit more chance. But right, New Zealand dollar is continuing its softening here. It really has not picked up like the other markets. They're still selling off. It's really unliked at the moment. It's a shame I can't see any sentiment at the moment. It'd been interesting to see what the sentiment of the big money was. It was a bit soft before the shutdown. It was quite soft and it changed quite weak, and well, we're still seeing that reaction. And these markets gone again today, though consolidated yesterday. Big consolidation day until it started breaking down there in the afternoon, but difficult one to trade when it's like this. US dollar Swissy. So again, this came off a bit yesterday in the end, and again, it's that sort of game. Is it a bull flag on the intermediate time frames? Is it going to continue pushing through here, or is it a little bear flag that's developing on the shorter time frames here? Break down, further continuation to the downside. What's it going to be? And that's it. That's a bit of the waiting game across most of these markets at the moment. Moving on to the gold. Consolidated at this stage. We're still in that tight sort of range. It's still ugly to me. And well, yesterday it did quite well in the morning there, but couldn't hold on to it. Had a short-term divergence there and broke that, rolled over. Yeah, not looking, as I say, pretty at this stage, but pushing back again. The more we see the gold market pushing up, the more I do wonder if the risk is coming sort of back off again. Oil dropped off yesterday. It's a little bit bounced today. I mean, there's some people suggesting there's a glut of oil. There's not a lot of people now, by the looks of it. There's an unwinding of buying of Russian oil. which will obviously push the demand elsewhere. But if there's a glut of it, well, this is the time, eh? Lower highs, lower lows kicking through that still largely on that 4-hourly time frame there. I still haven't been trading it. It did sink down at just after 1 o'clock there into the 2 o'clock bar there, sunk down quite strongly yesterday. We'll see what happens with this. I'm just out of trading it for now, which it's a shame sometimes because you'll miss things like this. 2 o'clock is my favourite time to come into the market. Something bearish with with lower highs, lower lows. This is technically a decent trade to run down towards its S1. However, when the market is so ugly, I stay out until it sort of settles itself a little bit more. It's always a bit bitty of a market, but okay. S&Ps, so another sell-off yesterday. Lower highs, lower lows, another lower high confirmed there in that movement overall, and a real solid old move down to give that lower high. At the moment, maybe short into the pivot. When you look at the bigger scheme of things, well, hey, this could still be an opportunity to buy at some point here. A break back above the monthly pivot here would be a more positive sign for the upside. If you were just looking at this chart here, you'd be looking at probably buying. It's come back, it's buying on the dips. You've got to look at the lower time frames, and then you see the lower highs coming through, and it looks a lot messier. But we've got this messy area back here. We're getting a messy area here. We'll see. It could be the end of the bigger growth there. We may get into a much choppier market going forward. FTSE. Okay, so daily wise yesterday it too came off a little bit there. It's into that double top zone here. Again, there'll be marginal divergences, I should imagine, sitting across these highs. A break of the low there would be the signal on the sell point. Okay, we're catching a little bounce at the moment, so potentially, but a bit iffy. Don't like what I'm seeing at this stage. The DAX finally continued to come off yesterday. As I said, this for me is my go-to short if I want to look for a short in the afternoon. And sure enough, this broke down, giving the lower high at the same time there, down to its S1. Perfect afternoon on the equity markets there on the DAX. As I say, this to me is a safer short. So if I'm looking for shorts, my go-to is the DAX at the moment. I'm not so keen on shorting the S&Ps, etc. Right, I shall leave you there, and I will catch you tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye. No, it won't be tomorrow morning unless you're up on Saturday. It'll be a quiet one, I tell you. I'll speak to you on Monday. Take care. Bye for now. Have a great weekend.